ready to talk about this Jack Harlow album?
Unfortunately, we got to.
We got to do it. Okay. Well,
Mhm.
the wait is over, y'all. The industry darling, Jack Harlow has dropped his "Come Home, the Kids Miss You" album. Album features Pharrell, Drake, Justin Timberlake, and Lil Wayne. So, what were your first reactions to hearing this album?
Truthfully,
Uh huh.
the industry does a great job of engineering.
Yeah, a lot of social engineering going on with this rollout.
No, I mean just engineering everything. So I wanted to go to the
You
musical
talk about
engineering
engineering
because I know a
music.
lot. No, engineering everything. So I want to
Okay.
start on the fundamental musical level. I want to go to nail tech.
Okay.
Here's my problem with Pharrell and with Kanye. Well, one of you guys is trying so hard not to be like an industry person. You need to understand. Kanye needs to understand that people's sound and aesthetic. Well, he's influenced this industry more than anybody the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so you trying to reverse that by creating this like gritty, grimy sound. Don't nobody know you for that. You're not from the projects. Like that's what I mean. It's like this ain't Into the Wu Tang dude. You're not from like Staten Island. Like you don't even make music that gives that gritty or grimy feel and appeal. So immediately I thought about Pharrell and Kanye when I heard this album. It's like, why aren't these guys who are worth hundreds of millions of dollars in big celebrities tracks engineered to this level of clarity? When that Nail Tech song came on in my speakers today, I was like, oh shit. I thought about engineering. I heard the engineering. It was like it pierced through the speakers. I was like, whoa. I was like, that is wonderfully put together. It looks like somebody with money, somebody with hundreds of millions of dollars, i.e., Kanye, Pharrell, actually, I don't know, spent some money to make it sound like it
Who
instead of
produced
trying to
that
do some
track?
shit that they not. No, they trying to make this shit sound street like they not street dudes. It's like why are you trying to make the shit sound street and gritty like when y'all aren't like gritty street dudes? Like what the fuck are you doing?
Ray
That's what
Reynolds
I'm
with the
talking
super.
about with how Donda sound. He trying to make Donda sound all earthy and like all this. It's like nigga, you don't do that. We love you because you made late registration.
Hold, let me go to the super chat real quick. Ray Reynolds with the super chat says, "Which producer would both of you like to see Meth do an entire album with? Can you imagine him doing an album with Mad Lib beats given to the black that were given to Black Star? I think that would be dope for Meth." Rigger Raw 7 says, "This nigga said on my block, y'all wildin'. I'm finna cry." um, okay, so the engineering was polished on this album. It's one of the things you came away with.
The first thing that I heard, it's like, oh, they apparently in the mainstream they believe in engineering albums. I'm gonna
Well,
say
I
this
heard
again.
that
It's
when
like,
I
oh
heard
no,
Certified Lover Boy too.
Griselda, when Griselda does it, it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they do. When Kanye does it, when Pharrell does it, it's not okay. It's what the fuck are you doing? Like, go Hell Hath No Fury with its gritty ass beats is masterfully engineered. All of the songs sound at the same level together and pieced together. Like, I don't know, like the same people put them together and piece them to the same engineer professionally. Like, these dudes are worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And so when I hear in Jack Harlow's album put together, like these dudes who have the money to actually make this stuff sound at the level that it can sound. You know, the best thing they could have done for Pusha T, actually production wise, make the engineering sound like Jack Harlow's engineering, since y'all want him to get this big rollout. Because Pusha's shit don't sound like this, do it?
So Boy Wonder produced Nail Tech. No, I don't think Pusha's sound like that. Why? I guess the people in the chat want to know why you bringing up Kanye for that record specifically. You're just saying because that record
I'm
sounds
talking
so
about
good.
Ghana, and I'm talking about them terribly ass engineered tracks that's on fucking till it's almost dry too. Stop. Go listen to the engineered tracks on this album and tell me that these guys aren't mailing some of these tracks in as in like, oh no, it's done, it's raw, it's gritty. That's the sound. That ain't your sound. You don't
Okay.
do that. The shit
Okay.
on Beat sound cleaned up. The shit on Finding Forever sound cleaned up. The shit on the Blueprint sound cleaned up. Don't the shit on Watch the Throne sound cleaned up?
It does.
So niggas is either being lazy or thinking that they like from the projects when they not. It's like, don't nobody go to Pharrell for no gritty sound. Nobody go to Ye for no gritty sound. Clean that shit up.
Well, I think that the streaming era has done that too, where we get less than mastered material. Because when things used to go to print and you have to actually print it out to physical CD or physical form, they made sure all that stuff was engineered properly. So some
Leroy,
people skip those steps now once they get done with a record, and then they just send it over to the streaming platforms because it's so much easier to get going in that way. But yes, they did not do that here. Rigawara with the super chat says, "Y'all the only niggas here that listen to that BS."
I saw that he said that. Mike, we have a Leroy sighting. Coop mentioned Hell Hath No Fury like Illmatic. I do. Actually, Leroy, I'm about to give you something. I have Hell Hath No Fury actually right after Reasonable Doubt in terms of like my Dope Boy albums, favorite Dope Boy albums. My favorite Dope Boy albums are Purple Tape, Reasonable Doubt, and Hell Hath No Fury. And Method Man's using more literary devices on this album than Jay-Z's used in the last 10 years. Ha ha ha.
Shout out to Leroy. Man, we need to know when Jay's coming with his album.
Leroy. How about that? Tell your boss that, Leroy. I'm feeling petty today.
Boss.
Tell
Okay,
your boss that.
you ready for some of my takeaways?
Yeah, I mean, that was my first take, and it was the engineering. Because I'm serious, like they put this album together really well, production and engineering wise, and it's like, well, we have guys with money that can do that, but they seem to be more concerned with trying to make like this Wu-Tang sound like they're from some sort of borough in Staten Island or something, like when they're not. Like, I don't understand that shit. And I don't understand everybody acting like it's okay for these records to sound this way. Like, it's not okay when an album sounds like it's been recorded 3 or 4 different places at 3 or 4 different levels. This is 1987.
007 says, Jack Harlow, man, bring back G-Eazy. He's better. Okay. There's a whole lot that I got here. I don't even know really where to start. One thing this is where I will start. I was listening to a couple of his interviews, mainly the Hot 97 one with Ebro and Peter Rosenberg, and they were treating him like he had sold 10 million records. You know what I'm saying? Like, they were treating him like he was already out of here. He was like, I think Ebro said, man, this is the last time we're going to get to interview you because you're about to be so big, man, that you're not coming back, yada, yada. And one thing that Harlow kept saying, and he said this in the Rolling Stone article too, he said, I'm here to play ball. Here to play ball. Okay. One of the big things that I took away from this, and we spoke about this earlier in the show too, he said he wasn't trying to, be a niche artist. And I think that's kind of a knock to, I don't want to say a knock, but a lot of the stuff that we're talking about now, the currencies of the world, and even Freddie Gibbs, like even Griselda, these guys have the people that they play to. He said he wants to play to everybody, but when I hear this album, I still hear a niche, right? We're not listening to this. I think this album, I'm sorry, man, it's going to sound like I'm throwing shade or whatever. When I listen to this album, subject matter, the way it's put together, the production, I don't see anybody but teenage girls listening to this album. This is not a rapper's album. It sounds like somebody who's trying to be a pop star using rap as a vehicle to get there. Does that make any sense?
Everything that you're saying makes sense. So I had something happen to me today that I want to tell you. I met this young man probably about 2-3 weeks ago. Guess what his name is?
What's his name?
His name is Jack.
Okay.
He's 17 years old, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
White. He's a junior in high school. What if I told you that he shared some of the very similar sentiments that we shared about Jack Harlow when we were talking about his album today? So I ran into Jack today about noon. Jack said some very staggering things to me. Keep in mind, first of all, this young man is 17 years old. Mm-hmm. White, really cool kid. I told him I'd give him a shout out on the show. What up, Jack?
What up, Jack?
Jack's about to go to Rolling Loud, probably.
Okay.
Okay? Now listen to what Jack told me. First of all, he watched some of our show. I put him on our show today, and so he watched some of the previous Jack Harlow commentary, and he actually agreed. He came back to me and he said, he was like, "Yo, AC." He was like, "Hey, man, he really can't rap like that." And I said, "Well, that's our thing." I said, and listen to what I'm about to say, because a lot of people have got on me about Eminem and me supporting Eminem. Eminem could rap, Mike, and this is what I'm talking about. Lyrically, he was inclined and superior to most lyrically in this field. And about that, I'm like, that's a real niche, okay? He was skilled. Listen to what this 17-year-old white man named Jack told me today. If he was black, he probably wouldn't even have a deal, AC. That's what he told me today.
About Jack Harlow?
17-year-old white man named Jack, and he's a student. He's a hip hop fan, and he's a different type of hip hop fan. Like he was wearing a trippy red shirt, you know. He's about to go to Rolling Loud. He was asking me, you know, he's like, "Did y'all cover Future's album?" Listen, what I mean, he had the same sentiments that you did. You remember what we were saying about Pharrell that we about to say? He said the same thing that we did. He's like, "What the fuck is Pharrell doing, man?"
Man,
I was like, I don't know, Mike.
As a fan and out of love, I'm about to give Pharrell that smoke real quick.
Right. I showed Jack your text. So understand, we got a 17-year-old white man, you know what I mean, just sharing some of the same sentiments about Jack Harlow that we have. So something industry-wise is going on. And I'm saying this about 17-year-old Jack because I could tell 17-year-old Jack was a hip-hop fan because the environment that I was in today is not the environment where a 17-year-old white man with the type of future upon him, like he walks in with a trippy red shirt on. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like that's not good for Jack's MO or Jack's future. I'm like, oh no, he's ahead.
Yeah.
Let me talk to him, give him my card, see what he thinks about all of this. He agrees with more of our sentiments. He's like, no, he's cool. He's like, but he can't rap like that. He's just another guy.
Okay. There's a lot to unpack there, and I do want to take some of those points. Rigorous the super chat.
I'm not making this up. Jack is probably watching us right now because he's about to fly to Chicago for his granddad's birthday. What up, the grandpops too? Chi-town in the house.
Rigorous 7 says, "Fuck it, I'll go there. I'll knock Jack Harlow the fuck out." Oh, we're not gonna knock Jack.
Please, we're not promoting violence.
We're not.
Unless it's Apple Music not giving me my money for stealing my Pusha T idea, because I'm gonna personally.
007 says Harlow's not surviving with clever raps in the cipher. Okay, this is where I want to go, and I want to go to one of the points that your guy Jack made. I think that if we have to picture Jack Harlow, and I don't like bringing the color in it, and you said that, you know, if he was black, he'd be another guy. I think one of the things... Yeah, Jack said that. I'm sorry. You said that Jack said that.
Yeah.
This is the thing that is interesting to me. He sounds just like Drake on this album. And no one's going to say anything about that. And in my personal opinion, I feel like Drake has to have some sort of stock in Jack Harlow. The fact that he's even featured on an album with a guy who damn near sounds just like him the whole album. That's one thing that, again, I hate to bring this in because I know people are going to sit here and be like, y'all always make it about race or whatever. Black artists can't come in sounding like anybody to that degree without getting smoked. We seen Action Bronson damn near make a whole career sounding just like Ghostface, and nobody said anything. But if somebody else would have did the same thing, like a Gorilla Black did with Biggie, or like even what they tried to put on Sean when he came in, it's a problem. You remember, dude, I think it was like Black Daves or even Lil Zane when he was rapping like Tupac. That's a problem. But this guy can do a whole album, damn near patterning everything that Drake has ever done. And we're sitting here talking about Eminem. Eminem's not even the mark. He's trying to be Drake. This is what that is.
It is that. So we need to address something. And we're going to take it back to the GOAT. And we got to stop some of this self-hate, because some of what's going on with Jack Harlow, and I hate to bring it up like this, well, this is age old. It has nothing to do with music. It's psychological and it's self-hate. Remember Russell Simmons not wanting to sign Nas because why? He
Sounded
sound
like
like
Cool G
Cool
Rap.
G Rap, and Cool
Exactly.
G Rap don't sell no records. So what we have is a situation where what they're doing is they're reverse engineering the mode. You have somebody, and this is why I always give Eminem credit, Mike. I hear a guy that raps that always sincerely wanted to be an MC and be a part of this culture. And I don't care what anybody else said. As a MC and as a lyricist, he went and earned that. I
And you
do
know
not
one thing
agree
I
with
will
the
say
level.
about him, and I don't give Eminem a lot of compliments or enough compliments on this show. He came with his own style, an original flow, and he made his mark. He stood out on those records. He jumped on
That's
that
what I'm
Sway and
trying to.
Tech joint, and
That's what I
he
always try to
stood
say.
out with some real MCs. Do we feel like Jack Harlow can jump out there and get on the track with some real MCs like Eminem did on the Sway and Tech joint and really stand out with his individual style?
So here was always my thing with Eminem, and I've always said this. This is like, no, how can you hear him rap and say he's not invited to the barbecue? He's just not one of the grill masters. He's just a guy at the barbecue. No, he invited to the barbecue. What I'm saying is they put him on the grill with all the other grill masters and all the award-winning chefs, and I'm like, no. He just got invited to the barbecue. What I'm telling you, and the other Jack, 17-year-old Jack, kind of echoed the sentiment for me is that we don't even know if this guy has the skills to get invited to the barbecue the way M does, but he's been afforded the same opportunity even M was afforded, if not more so. And that's where this is getting really, really dangerous. And that's why it's always important that we do acknowledge and respect Eminem's level of lyricism and MCing. I told you this, and I've been saying this is like, no, that guy can get in a cipher and rap next to Black Thought and Most Def.
Yeah.
That means something. That means something, and never more does it mean something now when we have a guy like this who I know cannot do that, Mike. Like if
No.
he were to walk in a cipher with Most and Thought right now, imagine him on frequency having the fourth verse.
Yeah. And I think once again, like I said about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame thing the other day in the other episode, my only issue here is like, dude, if they're going to make you a star to that degree, earn that through
That's
music,
it.
through
That's it.
skills, earn that. And one thing that really stood out to me too in that Ebro interview, or Ebro and Peter Rosenberg interview, was when Laura Stiles asked him about that whole rumor, and I think he addressed this in the Rolling Stone interview too, about him getting the part for White Man Can't Jump without even having the audition. And
White
he's
privilege.
like, yeah, that happened. He was like,
White
he said they just called me up and told me I'd be perfect for the part. Based
so,
on what? You've never
so
acted. You don't even have a personality like that. Like,
I want you to slow down though.
go
Mike,
ahead.
they don't even respect us enough in this community and our intelligence that they're literally flaunting his white privilege and calling it confidence and charisma.
It's
Like they're calling his
crazy.
white privilege confidence and charisma right in front of us, and we actively have black people letting him get away with it. And that's why I was always like, well, no, at least M could rap. No, M deserved to be in Unsigned Hype. M deserved to have Dre give him a look. Like M earned his invitation to the barbecue. Now we shouldn't have walked him up to the front of the stage, but he deserved the invite. Does this guy deserve the invite? Because I'm going to tell you what I hear on this album, and here are my notes. And I'm going to tell you where he really like turned me off. He made a barb on the first record or the second record talking about he's not the Beastie Boys. You
I didn't like
motherfucking
that
right,
either.
the Beastie Boys.
I
Hold
didn't
on.
like that either. I didn't
You
like that
motherfucking
either.
right, not the Beastie
Now,
Boys. The Beastie Boys made License to Ill in Paul's Boutique, motherfucker.
the Beastie
Like, what are you
Boys gave
talking
us,
about?
let's keep it real.
They got
And rest in
more
peace to
in here
MCA.
than M do. What are you talking about? They got more of a hall pass in here than M do. What the fuck are you
No.
talking about,
Listen,
dude?
I didn't like that
You
either.
the fuck up.
I didn't like that either.
Gassing you up.
I didn't
They
like
made
that either.
License to Ill. That's better than everything Eminem ever made.
Paul's Boutique is a game
Paul's Boutique is
changer.
better than everything Eminem ever made. So he don't even know his white boy history in this rap
I
shit.
thought that was, again, I'm on the fence if he's even writing this stuff, man. because that right there is just an ill-informed thing to even say. Not the Beastie
I'm
Boys.
not
Like
the
what?
Beastie Boys.
Man,
When he said that, I
rest
was
in
like,
peace
I'm
to
going.
MCA. Rest in peace
We
to
didn't
MCA
have,
because MCA is the one that actually made the call to get LL to Rick Rubin.
if we didn't have a show, Mike, I would have stopped playing that record, the entire record,
Yeah.
right there on principle.
Well,
Right there
Rigor
on
says
principle.
Jack
Like,
Harlow could get his ass whooped. Man, Rigor is ready. Um, Ray
the
Realm
Beastie.
says,
We
Mike
didn't
D, I'm
talk about
surprised
the
at
Beastie
you.
Boys.
Mike D said, I'm sorry, Ray Realm said, Mike D, I'm surprised at you because you're a hip hop savant. Eminem did mimic someone's style upon arrival. I think you're probably talking about Redman. Redman actually was an influence to M, but he didn't really mimic him per se. That thing that M was doing on Hi My Name Is and all that, that's original him. Like, nobody
Man,
sounded like that. I don't like the
even
record like that,
no, the
but
song
that's
Any
original
Man
him.
is original too. The guy that's on Any Man on Soundbomb is original.
Yeah. So anyway,
Yeah,
to your Beastie Boys point, I didn't like that either. And I
yeah.
think a lot of people out there don't really know this, but anybody who was around NWA early, Ice Cube early, will tell you the influence the Beastie Boys had on NWA. They were saying that Cube was coming in there with the cadences and flows of the Beastie Boys. He was writing Boys in the Hood as if Easy E was Mike D. So stop the,
You
like
don't know your history.
Beastie Boys mean a lot to hip hop.
Period. Like
Straight
not
up.
even as
So yeah,
like
so to
take
throw
their
them in
white.
there with
Just
Vanilla
take the Beastie
Ice,
Boys whiteness out of it. Take the Beastie Boys whiteness out of it. Is it licensed to Ill and Paul's Boutique Classic?
yeah. But no, again, to throw Beastie Boys in there with Vanilla Ice is
I don't like that shit.
I
Don't
don't
you ever
like
do
that
that
shit
again.
at all.
Don't you ever do that again. That is
You know
that
what?
that
This
is too
album
that's
might end
world.
up at a 2.5 because of shit like that. But
Right.
yeah,
No, he's right. Because we don't know who invited you here really because well, let's go to my notes. This is a Drake inspired album.
I think I'll go a step further. I think Drake did some writing on this album.
Listen, no, I got a step further about Ye's playing this. Well, this is in that 808s and Heartbreaks lane, which is why he's co-signing it. If 808s and Heartbreaks doesn't get made, well, this guy don't even exist in my estimation. What do you say to that?
I agree with that because
He's a
I don't think
Heartbreak.
Drake exists in the way that we know him as without 808s and Heartbreaks. And without that, then this doesn't exist. I think he comes in a different form. Because clearly,
Right. He
yeah,
doesn't come in this form if 808s doesn't get made. And Ye is musically a genius. He can hear that. He's like, that's why he co-signed. He's like, oh, this is one of my kids. One of
yeah.
my stepkids, but still one of my kids. Right.
It's one of those things too, man, where it's like the machine's gonna get behind somebody, and you know that, and you know they're gonna ask you about this person, so you might as well get ahead of it and just say, okay, yeah, dude's cool, whatever. Because if you get asked that, you're put in a situation where it's like if you don't say anything favorable, then you're hating on them.
Well, here's another thing that I noticed too. Well, and you brought it up. This is another one of my notes. He's got Drake's inflection, tone, and cadence. But here's the other thing that I heard, and I realized it when I was listening to the Hot 97 interview. It's got a lot of Atlanta influence. Some of these tracks, he's swagging on the tracks like Gunna. But then they brought up in the interview how he was coming down to where? Atlanta to perform. And I'm like, well,
He
that's
lives
where
in
all that
Atlanta.
kind of Atlanta inspired stuff is coming from. Because when he doesn't sound like Drake, he sounds like a rapper down here, specifically Gunna. Like I say Gunna just because he tries to catch his like Gunna's melodic riffs. He's not choppy like 21. He's not like auto-tune and rapid fire like Lil Baby. He's got that, it's synced up and bouncy like Gunna is, kind of trying to do that futuristic ATL flow thing that Gunna is, and Thug could really just kind of, futurize the future, put it on the map, So that's it too. The Pharrell track, you say what? Tell them what you say.
Let me get to Melanin Man real quick with the super chat. He says, Flea Lord and Monks have dropped the best project today. I need to listen to that.
They're back again. They dropped they made our yearbook the first year for one of their projects.
Yeah.
That was the Flea Lord did 3 projects. That was like his coming out party in 2020. So we put that up in the queue.
Yeah, we'll put that in the queue. We'll probably cover that Wednesday. Listen,
More
the
stuff.
the Pharrell song, Movie Star. You know what? That title tells you everything about where this direction for this individual artist is. This ain't about music. This ain't about hip hop. This is about, like I said, using rap music as a vehicle to create a global star in something. I don't know. Maybe i.e. a Mark Wahlberg type of path. I don't know. But
Right.
anyway,
It feels more like that.
so to even title this song Movie Star, and I guess, when you go to Pharrell or however they get together, it's like, okay, so what are we getting from this person? What's the concept? Probably, everything that was said on the artist profile was probably what we read in like Rolling Stone. And so they come with this. This song is trash. I'm sorry. And I love Pharrell. I'm a Neptune fan. But I think that the way music is right now and where hip hop is specifically has totally thrown Pharrell off course. This just doesn't sound good, man. Like, I
First of all,
I think he's losing it, man. I don't want to call him washed up. I think that's too harsh, but this is bad.
I keep trying to tell people, like Brambleton and Let the Smoker Shine the Coop are great. Everything else production wise I'm hearing from him, I'm like, okay, like
It's a
Push
mid,
is not
man.
the one that's out of touch. Push is not the one that's out of touch. That's all I gotta say, because when you're on Jack Harlow's album and I'm listening to your production and I feel like Jack Harlow might have saved your production and I'm not certain if he even should be invited to the barbecue, you got some issues you need
It's
to
one of the
address.
worst beats, if not the worst beat on the album.
It might be the worst beat on the album.
It got on there because it's Pharrell. And then they hyped it up because it's probably going to be a single. Then they hyped it up on social media. Pharrell was like, man, we got a hit. What are we hearing?
Maybe he needs to go back to Brambleton. And I don't mean beat wise. I mean like Brambleton, like the actual the catch a vibe or something, cause this ain't it.
Because I think even with that,
Call My Bluff ain't it either.
It took me back to some of those Pusha T interviews, and what Pusha was saying, they were going back and forth and stuff. I mean,
back and forth because the shit ain't high.
I was gonna say we probably got Brambleton and Let the Smoker Shine in the Coop because Push was pushing for some other beats.
He's pushing.
Yeah.
Probably pushing to get those beats. Like that's what I mean. It's like no, Open Air and Call My Bluff. It's like no. Those are dope beats. It's like for who? Like for Pusha T? Not for Pusha T.
Rigorol says, shout out to the chat. We all taking this journey together. A2HH hashtag. Yes, sir. We got Mamba RS400 says, Coop energy for Harlow after disrespecting the Beastie Boys. I felt that. 100. Xavier Logistics.
Don't ever.
Yeah,
don't
for
you
real,
ever
man.
I go on License to Ill. Like, no. That's a hip-hop album.
Oh, yeah.
That's a hip-hop album.
And then you say you want to be the face of hip-hop for the next 10 years. You didn't even make a hip-hop album. This is not a hip-hop album. I'm sorry. This is as much of a hip-hop album as Fergie's album is. I'm sorry. That's how I view it. This sounds like such a pop album. Just somebody using raps over pop records. These are supposed to be very suitable for radio. That's what I heard.
I was waiting to hear a track where he at least tried to show his MC skills, or okay, so in every city around this country, the cipher works a certain type of way in your neighborhood. You feel what I'm saying? Like your hood, your block, your city. Like the cipher, the way the cipher operates in Charlotte is not how the cipher operates in Atlanta. Like Atlanta don't really cipher. Like niggas in Charlotte cipher. You feel me?
Yeah.
I wanted to hear something hip hop wise that was reflective of his MC roots. Like we're two projects in. I don't even know what your MC roots look like. You feel me?
Xavier Logistics says it was all a dream. I used to read Rolling Stone magazine. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, do you remember when CeeLo came out with his solo albums and he did Big Old Words?
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of to his roots as a Southern man, as
just
an
to
artist.
show you. Yeah.
to show you. It's like, well, he had done verses to show you, but on his solo project, he gave you some stuff to show you who he was.
I think what's popping, he actually sounds like a whole different rapper. He didn't sound like Drake on there. He was actually rapping on there.
Mike, I just have to tell you, it's been hard for me to concentrate since somebody talked about the Flea Lord album, because apparently there's a record on here called Final Four with Flea, Conway, Rock Marciano, and Trey the Truth. I don't want to talk about Jack Harlow anyway. I want to get to the Flea Lord. Fat Joe and Cormega on here, Mike. We talking about Jack Harlow. Fat Joe and Cormega on the Flea Lord.
That's how much the machine has pressed on this. Out. Yeah. Listen. Like I said at the beginning of the show, hip hop is murdering the machine right now.
Hip hop in the streets. Hip hop in the streets, where Flea Lord got Cormega, Fat Joe, Conway, Rock, Trey the Truth, all on one project. And we talking about Jack Harlow. That's what hip hop is.
Well, I think that I was gonna give it a 3, man. I might take it down to 2.5.
I don't even feel comfortable rating it because of my personal bias right now. I need to get out of an unbiased place to rate it.
You know what? One more thing. Did you hear the song with Justin Timberlake? What did you think about that?
I thought all of the guest appearances, although they were notable, were all underwhelming except for Drake. Drake is the only person that actually showed up.
Because he wrote this whole album. Anyway.
When I was saying that, when I wrote that note, and then after you made your points and I started thinking to myself, I'm going to have to say that, I'm like, and Mike is going to say, because Drake wrote the whole album.
Yeah.
But in my notes right here, I said the Drake inflection, tone, cadence is all over this album. The girl talk is all over this album. And then I put in parentheses, but he is 24. And that's when I texted you. It's like, well, Mike, he's 24. And then you were like, they made Aquemini when they were 23. I want you to know that, like, when you sent me that text about Outkast making Aquemini when they were 23, like, I heard, like, Prince and Purple Rain, like, talking like Late Minnetonka on there. They made that when they were 23.
Well, I mean, we can take it a step further. T.I. made trap music when he was, 22? He made Urban Legend when he was 24. Ain't no excuse.
You hit me with the Aquemini at 23 thing. I was kind of quiet after that, if you noticed, Mike. I really didn't text you back after that.
Yeah, youth ain't an excuse. Andre Shashir says, listening to Harlow makes me miss Mac Miller. Me too, man. Rest in peace, Mac Miller. Ray Rim says, did I stump the two goats? Whenever you brothers get a chance, listen to the Infinite album again.
I would imagine the Infinite album probably is more Redman-ish.
Probably is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's where it really get his style from. That's where it really
get a lot of people say that the Infinite album, he sounds like AZ in them. I do remember a lot of people saying that. But let's just be real, though, Ray Rims. That's not
how he feels about Phone Tap.
That's not the album that blew him up, though. So, we can't. I mean, we can count Infinite technically, but the stuff that blew Eminem up and made him a household name, it wasn't the Infinite stuff. Rigger Ross says, all three of us would cook Jack, man. Fuck him. Okay, I think you guys are okay with us doing a 2.5 here. But what I was going to say before we go on to the next, I felt like Justin Timberlake was trying to sound like Michael Jackson on that song. I've never heard Justin Timberlake sing that high. And it was kind of weird to me. I was like, huh.
I think Justin Timberlake is always trying to sound like Michael Jackson. Unfortunately for us, we don't have enough black artists trying to do the same, making better music than him, so we have to deal with that shit. Right.
Well,
right.
I think once again,
I always tell people, it's like, I don't like appropriation, but I also don't like it when white people do our music better than us either. And so, like, with the R&B guys.
Oh, come on. Good music is good music.
No. I'm serious about that shit. It's like, no. I don't like it when, like, people do our stuff better than us. Like, nobody likes that. People got to get out of this, like, world that they live in where they don't take pride in their stock, in themselves, and their culture first. I take pride in my stock, in my culture first. That's not a disrespect to your culture. Right. I'm actually being disrespectful to guys like Usher and Chris Brown because I'm like, well, Justin's delivered more than you motherfuckers.
You think so? Oh, nah, man.
I mean, like, for real talk, Mike, what does Chris Brown talk about other than fucking your girl like 17 different types of ways the last 20 years? And Usher hasn't made anything dope really since Confessions. So like the answer to that is fuck yeah.
Well, okay.
And now we got the Rihanna
Justin really
picture
ain't made nothing good in a minute either.
Then the Rihanna pictures are floating back up, which reminds you how many times Chris Brown done whooped the woman's ass, which is like multiple times now. And it's like, damn, will you at least just do the R&B better than Justin Timberlake? Because he's like not whooping anybody's ass.
I think Chris makes better
than you.
I think Chris has made better R&B than Justin. And Chris does it where he does, and Chris is doing it without the help of Timbaland and the Neptunes.
Hey, how about this? This is what I mean when I say R&B. It might be the type of R&B that you can play with your girl, but here's the reality matter about that R&B. I can't like play that with my daughter and me and her ride and sing along to it the way we can Justin Timberlake.
No, I give you that.
Hold on. Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm about to say. The way your mother and your father used to be able to ride with you, and mine used to be able to ride with me and sing some of these R&B songs. Can you do that with Chris Brown?
You're right.
You can do that with Justin Timberlake.
No, I give you that.
So all he talks about is fucking. He's not a great R&B artist. Artists that talk about fucking all the time aren't great R&B artists. They're misogynizing. They're over-sexualized. They need to deal with their women issues, their abusive women issues, their over-sexualized women issues. He's at the top of the fucking list. Go get some therapy, nigga. Next.
And it's a shame because Chris is much more talented.
He be claiming gang shit. Is that the nigga from Excuse Me Miss claiming gang shit? It's like, oh, get out of here, dude. Like, come on. all that. Didn't you say, hey, yo? And now you all tatted up gang shit from Virginia? No, you didn't come from no gang when you was doing, hey, yo, excuse me, miss. When you get initiated into a gang, fool? When? Why? When you got millions of dollars? Shit don't be making no sense what these niggas be doing. No, he's not a better R&B artist than Justin Timberlake.
I think he's a much better talent. And, I mean, I feel what you're saying. And I think the best...
He's way more talented. Yeah. Where are the songs? Where are the R&B songs?
Oh, the songs are there. He done put out albums with like 50 songs on them.
No. If you can't, Mike, can you get in the car with your mama and your wife and maybe like one of your little nieces or cousins and play his shit? That's not R&B then.
No, I feel you on that. No, I think that's a great point.
It's not R&B. It's not. I'm sorry. I don't care what these dudes say. That's not R&B. Like, you could play Jodeci and R. Kelly, like, with our parents. You could play Janet with our parents. Mike, the stuff you can play with people around you, even the sexualized stuff. Like, you can play anytime, any place around your mama, and it's not, like, totally out of place. Not the shit Chris Brown be saying. Like, no.
You don't think Confessions is better than all of Justin's albums?
Yes, Confessions is better than everything Justin Timberlake ever made.
All right, Jet Rich says...
My Way and Confessions.
Okay, well, what else does Justin really have to stand on?
My Way is my 10th grade year of high school. My Way is my shit. My Way is one of the last truly great R&B albums. Like R&B.
I like 8701 too.
And blues. 8701's got some joints on it. Ain't that You Got It Bad on there?
Mm-hmm.
But look, notice you're talking about shit that's more than 15 years old, though. I said last 10, 15 years.
Well, I mean, Justin ain't really made nothing recent either. Dead Rich with the super chat says that the new Jack Harlow logo is the trash can. Man, y'all going in on Jack.
He said, "Who is it?" Somebody said, "Who is your dealer, Coop?"
AK's the Curtain says, y'all think that Saha is going to put out more music after the story of EGOT? He's going with Empire, yeah. He's going with Empire Records. I think that's interesting. And I think that's a whole nother subject for a whole nother day. But if he's doing a deal with Empire, he's probably going to put out some music.
Somebody made a good point. Our king of R&B pees on people, unfortunately. The guy who made the best R&B music, the guy who made the best R&B music in our lifetime is such a nasty bastard. That's the real worst part. The best R&B music does belong to him, actually. Like Usher, Chris Brown, Justin Timberlake together, can't fuck with his catalog.
I think the king of R&B, in my personal opinion, is Miguel. I think he makes the best R&B music for current artists.
When's the last time he made something great, though, actually, Mike?
I think last time Miguel made something really dope might have been like, 2018-ish?
No, it's before that.
No. It was the same year that Astro World came out. Yeah, that album was dope. And he was on the Shaft soundtrack and all that stuff. Yeah, Miguel's dope.
I like the earlier Miguel more than the version that you're talking about.
I like his second album. Coffee in the Morning.
Hold on. Are you talking about Kaleidoscope Dream? No, 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 no.
Nah, the one after that.
The one after that. Yeah,
Yeah.
see, like Kaleidoscope Dream was more like what I was talking about. You're talking War and Leisure?
Yep.
I wasn't a big
Nah,
fan of
Miguel
that.
shit's hard, man. Cause his shit sounds like your man's. I mean, not sounds like it, but it's that R&B that has that rock element in a Prince type of way. You know what I'm saying? When the guitars are heavy, it's it's more guitar, bass, electric, eccentric in that way. Kind of like it's more R&B than what Lenny Kravitz does, but in less rock than what Lenny Kravitz does. Like I said, Prince is like the only comparison, and I know I'm not comparing him to Prince like that, but you know what I'm
No, I
saying.
get what you're saying. No,
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. The realm that he exists in as an R&B artist is the
Yeah.
lane that Prince actually helped open up and create. So Miguel is
Yeah.
existing in that lane as well as you can expect somebody to exist in that lane that's not Prince. So I
Exactly.
get completely
Yeah.
what you're saying.
And
No.
it's not like he even tries to sound like him, like Justin Timberlake tried to do on that one song.
I mean, the reality of the matter is that if we're just going to the music, none of these guys are even close to R. Kelly on their best day.
No,
That's
that's
just
real.
that's the reality of the matter. That's what makes who he is so sad. Because what I will tell you is that if he didn't do what he does, you do understand that he literally, when we're having these Stevie, Michael, Prince, Bob Marley, you understand he's
Marvin.
the person that's. You understand that he's the person that belongs in those conversations that we don't talk about. Like you understand he belongs that's where he is musically.
Oh,
You
definitely.
understand that?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Like that's where he belongs.
Rigorol 7 said, Coop said he's on Gresham. If you know, you know.
Oh yeah, that's behind the scenes stuff. We was talking about where we ride to get our hood vibes. You know, I'm an East Side guy. Like Rigor was like West Side with it. I was like, oh no. I was like, I go to East Side Gresham, like Candler for that.